Hey, welcome back. Quick recap from this past week. The portfolio has finally broken $38,000 and is onwards to 40,000. It definitely looks like we'll be able to hit our $100,000 mark sooner than expected, as the market has done pretty well in my favor at the moment. Year to date, we're sitting at a healthy 21.15% or $6,700. A lot of those gains, though, have been leveraged by three different stocks, which I'll get to in just a second. But as of right now, they haven't let me down. I'm feeling very confident in them. I keep things, fairly conservative for this portfolio. Just to break it down, I invest $900 a paycheck into certain stocks, and sometimes I'll rebalance or I'll move investments around depending on how the market is moving, or if I want to double down on a specific stock I feel will have a lot of healthy upside in a short time frame, like Nvidia. Which, by the way, I was very satisfied how Nvidia moved after its earnings report. It went from about 670 a share to 775 after up big earnings, which I happen to double down on in another portfolio that did play out well. So, of course, Nvidia is my first favorite stock. Nvidia posted earnings on February 21st. I know it's old news, but short, analysts were expecting $4.64 a share, which actual came out to $5.16, with revenue coming out to 22.1 billion versus 20.62 billion expected. So it's safe to say that Nvidia crushed earnings and led the way for the tech market, as I've never seen so much talk about one stock. I mean, even CNBC had a countdown on Nvidia earnings, which tells you something. Per CNBC, though, Nvidia's total revenue rose 265% from a year ago based on strong sales for AI chips for servers, particularly the company's Hopper chips, such as their H100, it said. I have personally never owned a Nvidia product, but I do have friends who all say that the processing speed and computations are simply unmatched compared to any other company they've used in terms of computer chips and other processors. While Nvidia did crush earnings reports, and as a loyal shareholder, I do have to say that now the bar has really been set high for Nvidia. Can they maintain that bar and keep all the other competitors down below? And I do personally think so. It seems like they do have an edge, which puts them possibly 3 to 5 years ahead of their competitors. But keep in mind that not all the revenue or earning comes from just computer chips. Per CNBC, strong demand was driven by enterprise software and consumer internet applications and multiple industry verticals, including automotive, financial services, and healthcare. The company said in commentary to us, the shareholders. So while Nvidia did crush their numbers and cash flow in different areas of the market, I'm just more surprised of how fast they are when it comes to maneuvering around certain roadblocks, such as Chinese restrictions that happened not too long ago, which did hurt Nvidia's data center revenue through the US restrictions on importing advanced AI semiconductors to China. Of course, though, Nvidia and their ingenuity and their fast reflexes, they just maneuvered, reconfigured to abide by the restrictions, and they found a workaround. And in the meantime, they're supplying samples to China, which is great. That's good news. Also, their CFO, Colette Chris, mentioned their Hopper architecture products are improving, not to be confused with the device that deposits grains and rocks, but rather it's a GPU, graphics processing unit, that can process insane amounts of data compared to other GPUs. Looking forward, Nvidia is set to announce Q1 earnings on May 22nd. Forecast is $5.53 per share, compared to the previous quarter of $5.16 a share. My question is, can Nvidia outperform on earnings? I would like to think so. But a few things I do think would help Nvidia and their revenue, especially optimism in the short term and then outlook long term, is that less restrictions on exports of their products, or importing products to China, for example. If they could work that out, negotiate whatever, or they could smooth that out, that would be more beneficial for Nvidia, and not just them, but any other AI semiconductor stock, which I do think would help them thrive more and rally as well, which really is what the market needs. So simply put, I am way deep in the green on this stock, and there's no getting out now. I wouldn't even think about selling at this point, and I've made a very healthy amount on this stock. So it's just fun to be on the AI train, as they call it. But every time I think about basically those who have told me Nvidia would crash and they would sell off. At one point, Nvidia did fall to about $110 a share from its high, but people told me, oh, it's gonna crash and it's gonna sell off at around 200 a share. Then they said 300, 400, all the way up to 800, and it closed at about 825 a share on Friday. So it just makes me want to buy more, simply. So I don't think people realize the capabilities and potential upside that Nvidia has, and simply its influence that it brings, not just to our market here in the United States, but the global market as a whole. So next up is Amazon. And of course, you got to love the stock where you can buy virtually anything online, right? So Q4 2023, Amazon reported the revenue was 169.96 billion. That's an increase of 13.91% from the same quarter last year. In Q4, Amazon's net income was 10.62 billion, which, by the way, I get this info off of TipRanks. It's a great website to use for stock analysis, analyst forecasts, and many other tools if you're interested. Other than that, Amazon has been implementing AI in its delivery and warehousing services long before I was even aware of it. So, per an Amazon staff article, well before a customer clicks to purchase their item, Amazon's supply chain optimization technology, Scott, is already at work. Scott helps forecast demand for more than 400 million products each day. 400 million, keep that in mind. Let that marinate in your brain. Using deep learning and massive data sets to decide which products to stock and which quantities at which Amazon facility while coordinating inventory shipments from millions of sellers worldwide. I don't know about you, but if there's anything a business can do that can become extremely lucrative, save time, which equates to saving money, it's forecasting or predicting things that consumers want before they even realize it. So part of the reason why Amazon is so successful as they continue to streamline operations and smooth kinks in their logistics, this all shows that they're on the right path, and using AI to their benefit is just going to help them succeed that much more. So I read this off an article. In 2020, Amazon began using Transformer technology, the software engine that has revolutionized natural language processing and made advances in generative AI possible to introduce a unified forecasting model. So basically, they're introducing more AI for, I'm guessing, like voice recognition. Obviously, there's a lot more to it. But the model makes even more accurate predictions of what customers will love and buy across Amazon's vast catalog of products. The technology has helped further improve long-term forecasting of what products Amazon should stock on its shelves. So with the amount of volume that Amazon fulfills in one day, shipping on a global scale, you could only imagine how much money or potential revenue they would lose if they didn't have these systems in place. I would say potentially hundreds of millions, but that's just speculative. Now, keep in mind that Amazon, it's taking quite the jump from its lows in 2022 when it was $84 a share to closing last Friday at its 52-week high at $178 a share. That's a significant jump. So it's safe to say that, we are back. We are simply back. And I'm going to keep doubling down on this bad boy of a stock. I don't think it's going to lose me money. And ever since I've been investing into it, I've doubled down on it numerous times. I've made a considerable amount, and we're not done. But last but not least, the new kid on the block, SoundHound. I've been keeping this stock on the back burner because, it is a penny stock. And typically, a penny stock is anything less than $5 a share, usually from what people say. But this stock happened to break this past week. It closed at just over $6 a share with a 52-week high of approximately $7.41 a share. Now, that is exciting to me. SoundHound engages as an AI platform that is trying to innovate visual touch voice technology through automatic speech recognition, text-to-speech, voice-enabled digital assistant, music recognition, mobile app, etc. So they do a lot on the AI side of voice recognition, machine learning, this and that. Currently, they support 25 different languages and even have the technology and implementation to understand, get this, regional accents and language variations. If that's not impressive, I don't know what is. Think about the thought process, first of all, to create a platform that recognizes language. And then you think to yourself, let's step it up a notch and think, what if we implemented detection of regional accents and language variations? Talk about catering to more than just a few parties. But aside from that, SoundHound has actually also partnered with numerous companies, which is exciting to me because as a shareholder, we like to see this. So they partner with the numerous companies who simply want their technology because of how it benefits and streamlines processes of theirs. Keyword, convenience. They partner with Jersey Mike's, which their AI technology can take orders by phones, answer questions regarding the menu, and give info on parking and other info such as hours of operations, and even provide details on allergens. That's pretty cool, not gonna lie. But amongst other partnerships, such as Samsung and White Castle, I hope you both know what those are, which they provide interactive experience for White Castle's drive-through customers, and that is very impressive. It's just basically what it is, and with the times and AI technology, if you can't really beat a certain company, then join partnership, right? But of course, the most impressive of all, the almighty Nvidia. Now, Nvidia, I found out, is invested into SoundHound. When I saw this news, this was back in February, I knew I was in on potentially a big earner of a stock. Now, keep in mind that Nvidia, I've owned this stock for a while, but SoundHound, I've owned this stock since May of 2023, and it hasn't had much luck since then because it's just been kind of like under the radar. It's been doing a lot, but the news hasn't really caught up with it. But I've had confidence in their AI technology, their partnerships and ingenuity, basically all things why I invest in it. But the cherry on top was when Nvidia announced that they owned a stake in SoundHound, about 1.73 million shares, which at current market value, that's about $10.5 million, which puts the ownership of less than 1%. So why else would Nvidia invest in a company like SoundHound if they didn't believe in its ingenuity or future outlook? In just the last month, SoundHound skyrocketed 263%, pushing my gains well over 80% on this portfolio. There is a big AI hype that has poured a lot of money into certain stocks, and maybe SoundHound is getting pumped more than it should, and maybe it's growing more than it should. I don't know. Nonetheless, I don't plan on selling any of it for a long time, and I do believe in their team, the leadership, the investors in the company, and their ingenuity. So companies like this often go unrecognized because they're a penny stock. But I've been buying this since it was between $1.07 and $3 a share, which now the dollar cost average is pretty juicy on my end. But I want to take a dive into like their earnings from last week and outlook. Stuff like this is very important if you own a stock and you want to keep it on your radar for long term. SoundHound reported earnings on February 29th. Estimate was negative 6 cents a share versus actual negative 7 cents a share. It doesn't sound very significant, but of course, it sold off about 20% after releasing those numbers. More importantly, though, SoundHound's full year revenue in 2023 was $45.9 million. $45.9 million, which is a 47% increase year over year. That's tremendous growth year over year. They expect 2024 revenue to be in a range between 63 to 77 million. If we take the middle range of that being 70 million compared to the previous year, 2023, of $49.5 million, that's a healthy jump. And of course, that's speculative, but I'm hoping they can pull those numbers. But if companies like this, take time to lift off, it takes time, of course. It doesn't happen overnight. So obviously you have to have faith in these stocks like these when, in particular, the stock prices are so low, and obviously picking a successful individual stock in the $3 range and betting it's going to go to $15, $20, $25 a share, it's tough because a lot of companies don't pull that off. So as of now, SoundHound spells optimism in my book, and I'm going to continue buying more of the stock. So other than that, I hope you guys enjoyed, and hopefully these stock picks continue to benefit me as much as they've had. I do enjoy the journey where I invest in these stocks like these, and what the companies continue to innovate is just all the more exciting. So other than that, hope you guys enjoyed. Stay safe and happy investing.